Psalm 83. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, Asser also is joined with them. They've holpen the children of Lot. Selah.
Indians may be Hebrews. The Calumet News, October 2nd, 1912. William Penn gave the clue to many subsequent biblical scholars in declaring that he found in the American Indians the lost tribes of Israel. The superficial resemblance between the two was so striking that he was led to say, When I look at their children, I imagine myself in the Jewish quarters of London. Reverend J. Wesley Anas says in Zion's Herald, Boston, that as of late as 1880, a well-informed representative of the Muskogee tribe, when questioned concerning the legends of his people, replied, They are all in the Old Testament. Read them there, without the trouble of taking them down from our people. Corroborative of this is the statement of Dr. W. W. Warren in his History of the Ojibwe Nation, that in the response to parts of the Bible which he translated for his people, they said, The book must be true, for our ancestors have told us the same stories for generations. The theory here presented is not new, the Jewish Encyclopedia giving the substance of it without pronouncing upon its credibility, and we're going to get to why they wouldn't want to do that, maybe after this video. The writer meets the objection to the theory based on the great distance between the habitations of the two people by citing the books of Esdras. They affirm that after the captivity, the Hebrews resolved to separate themselves from the heathen and to seek a spot where they might religiously observe the law, for the violation of which they had been so severely punished. Accordingly, he reports them to have migrated to a country which was uninhabited and so far distanced that they journeyed for a year and a half or even more. This theory is further supported by the writings of the famous Manasseh ben Yasharel, or Israel, who tells us that America and Asia, now separated by the Bering Strait, were formerly one continent, and that during the early period these Hebrews penetrated to America by land. Which, what he just said is completely not correct. Still more conclusive proof is found in the comparative study of the language, religion, customs, and traditions of the two people. Such resemblance as these are noted. Like the Hebrews, the Indians, when first visited by the Europeans, were a very religious people, yet they had entirely escaped the idolatry which was common to almost all ancient peoples. They acknowledged but one God, the Great Spirit, and the name by which he was known was Allah, or Ale, A-L-E, the old Hebrew name of God, or for God. In their dances they were heard to say distinctively, Hallelujah, or praise to Yah, praise to Jah, the very word which was used by the Hebrews themselves. They kept annual festivals which resembled those of the Mosaic ritual. They performed morning and evening sacrifices and offered of their first fruits to God. They practiced the rite of circumcision and celebrated a feast like that of tabernacles. They had cities of refuge to which even the murderer might flee and be safe. The Indians reckoned time in the same manner as the Hebrews, and their year began at the same season. The same superstitions seemed to have marked their burial places, and the same creeds were the rule of their lives, both to the present and the future. The Indians, as well as the ancient Hebrews, lived in tribes ruled by a chief, and their forms of government were almost identical. The clan system of Indians have preserved a clue to some of the mysterious rites of the early Hebrews. What is now known about the clan system of the Iroquois explains what was formerly mystical about the tribes of Israel. Each tribe had a totem, usually some animal, such as a deer. The deer was Naphtali, a bear, or a panther. So also had the Israelites such a totem, And that explains why in the blessing of Jacob upon his sons, Judah is surnamed a lion and Joseph a bow. So I'm going to post up more screenshots and pictures of evidence of Hebrews living in the Americas, or American Indians being linked to Hebrews, and where they came from and who they really are. And as I said before, you have two groups of people who both have claims that they were of dark-skinned, copper-colored, melanated people, and their identities have been stolen. If American Indian tribes, certain American Indian tribes, large American Indian tribes, powerful, famous American Indian tribes were once practicing Hebrews, that means just like the Hebrews over and the Israelites over in the third part of the world, over there in Israel, over there in Africa, over there in Europe, over there in Asia, who were taken down, who were destroyed, who has had their identity stolen, their land stolen, and everything about them stolen, as the book, or as Psalms 83 says. Go check up, I'm going to put a screenshot of that, Psalms 83. A multiple groups of nations, a confederation of nations have come together to destroy the children of Israel and take their identity and make sure they never become a nation again. To do that, you would have to take their identity, you would have to take their history, you would have to take their lands, and you would have to do something to destroy it, and or do something to make sure that they never claim it or never want to go back to them again. That same exact thing would have to happen to the, over here in Americas, to the Indians. That has not necessarily happened. Just like you have a group of Jews that claim they're the real people and show no signs of the curses of Deuteronomy, show no signs of any signs that would show them that they're Hebrews today. The same thing has happened over here in the Americas. You have groups of Indians who own entire casinos. Their lands have not been really taken from them. Their history has not been forgotten and whitewashed or taken away. It's still attached to them. And they have a group of black people looking at them saying, you're not the real people, we are, and you've stolen our identity and you've stolen our land, just like the Jews over there in the third part have. Is this a coincidence? Am I crazy for bringing this up? Now I got more and more articles. I have articles on the lost tribe, a tribe living underground, living in a mountain in the Yucatan Peninsula. And the guy who went there says that he believes that they are of the lost tribes of Israel, or could be of the lost tribes of Israel. So I have so many more interesting articles and videos I want to read from, but if you follow my channel, I just don't touch on history. We touch on a lot of black history. We're going to go into Mississippi Black Papers. I'm going to get back into reading that. We're going to get into destroying the Catholic Church and books on exposing that. I want to get into actual scriptures, reading from the sealed portion, reading from the Apocrypha and stuff like that. So much I want to read on top of history. So with that being said, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and go check out this article yourself. So there's a newspaper article making the rounds on TikTok being shared by black Americans. And a lot of people are claiming in the comments, well, what's the source? What's the origin? Link to this article, or I don't believe it's real. What's the source of this? It's not that hard to go do your own research. I've been doing it for years. ChroniclingAmerica.net, Library of Congress, Clovis News, volume July 4th, 1912, image 2. We go down and we read the newspaper article, Negro race has $1 billion in U.S., and we get to the infamous article that talks about more than $1 billion worth of United States real estate, which he owns in his own name in the United States, is not easily to be taken from him. It's talking about the Negro when it says he. Besides, the Negro is not an African. He is an American. African is a misnomer. Why try to send him to a country which is not his own?